It is that time to grab your inner genius. It is time for Edge Radio Australia, the Genius Zone. Guess what we've prepared earlier here? Our own genius. How good is that? Lovely to see you, Terry.
Lovely to see you too, Aaron.
Hey.
On this splendid day.
It is a splendid day. Now, you've got your phone in front of you. That concerns me greatly. Okay, it really does. It sort of.
I'm not texting, I promise.
And she's got a boy on the line. No. Gee, what was I thinking? That. No. I maybe should think before I speak. But this is going to be great. We've actually got an international superstar on the other line, waiting in the green room, ready to come on in. Yeah. Love it when we have international guests because we've got to play the time zone thing, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the game machines. No, I'm talking about the fact that we're very lucky with Edge. We're all over the world. Right? This is a fantastic thing, right?
Absolutely.
So let's bring on our special. Well, actually, before we bring them on, let's do a little introduction, and I will give that to you.
Well, this lady is a very strong advocate. And she is one of the very important people in parliamentary in Switzerland. And she is a trainer. She is a woman that believes in leading the way with a very strong advocacy.
Okay.
And her specialty that she's going to be speaking on today, Aaron, is AI.
Oh, the big scary subject, right?
Yeah, and also the fact of how we need to be very careful with it, but how every single person needs to use it. And I found this conversation just so incredible. Mm-hmm. And it's great for leaders, corporate teams, you name it. So let's bring her on.
Well, before we do that, you've just said teams. Now, I've just noticed something. I'm looking at the monitor here, and you're wearing our shirt.
I am.
You are. Look at that. Member of the team, baby. Look at that. Check it out. And, of course, you can go to edgeradioaustralia.com. If you'd like to purchase one of those, send us a message, and we can sort that out for you so you can look as, teamish as we do, or foolish, whatever. Your choice. But let's bring Jacqueline on. Absolute pleasure to have you on. How are you, Jacqueline?
Hi. I'm well. Thank you so much having me here. I'm excited to talk to you.
It's absolutely our pleasure. I'm going to sit back on this one. I've got nothing to say because, AI, it'll do it for me, right?
Well, let's go. So first of all, let's talk about, what made you go into parliamentary and, your role and, what you are advocating.
Yes, I am Jacqueline Cusero, and I'm working actually, as Terry already said, I'm working for the Parliament. That means in Switzerland that I'm working directly for the elected members of Parliament. How did I get in there? So I did a PhD on social science. I did also studies on data science. So we're in the middle of the field. We're around artificial intelligence. So obviously, yes, I'm in the middle of technology, politics, and also advocacy. So leadership is a big theme for me. We are.
It seems so, Jacqueline.
Yes, we are working obviously in a very strong structure, hierarchical wise. So what I realized is we are working in these institutions, and obviously we have to convene whatever work we have to do. On the other hand, women are very often having these rules, just holding everything together. And I believe every woman had that moment that you're solving the problems, keeping the relationships intact, pushing the work forward, and yet somehow her voice is still missing at the table. So we are working in structures, they're quite still male dominated, yeah. So my fields I'm working in are like old traditional leadership models as well. So we're living in this area of algorithms, automation, and rapid change also. Leadership has to adapt because obviously a top-down leadership is no longer possible. Imagine you're taking a decision on the top floor until it comes down, this information flow, this rapid change every day. You don't know what's still true today, what hasn't been yesterday. So changes in leadership, changes also taking this quick decisions. We need to know that in this era, it is needed that we have other leadership models and rules. So we have to have ones rooted in empathy, courage, trust, and respect. We need to have more clarity. And as women have these skills already, they put everything together. They actually drive the workforce. So this is the challenge, isn't capability for women to step on now, take up these roles. It's just believing that we're allowed to lead on our terms.
And you're in a classic situation where, you know, people may be afraid to use their voice. I mean, you're living in a man's world, you know, in that space. And, you know, what I love, and this is the theme that's been around for me all week, you know, I did 3 podcasts this week.
You've been busy,
broke
girl.
a bloomin' record. But, you know, the theme that's coming across is voice and having a voice in every room. And I cannot even explain how, you know, how relevant that is for me right now.
Really?
In a system, in a broken system where I'm advocating and my voice is so important. And yet, you know, there's ego always seems to get in the way. Do you find that sometimes it doesn't become about right and wrong anymore? It becomes where it's, you know, ego comes into play rather than justice. So, you know, what do you say for the person who wants to use their voice and obviously speak their truth in a broken system? For example, do we take the emotion out of it? Do we pull other people in and, you know, create that power, or what do we do? What would you suggest?
I would suggest, first of all, that we give ourselves this permission to speak up. I think, first of all, we're so conditioned as women to step back, to conform. We do as we have been told. So first of all, give yourself the permission to speak up. Tell the people around you what you think, because very often it's not about them telling you don't say anything. If you're in a room, if you're sitting at the table, just tell whatever your opinion is. Step forward. Take your authority. It's very important. It's very often ourselves, we women, we don't step up. We think we shouldn't talk. That's why we're conditioned like that, especially
Jacqueline,
in such institutions.
In what institutions?
In institution of like government, but also in all areas, we have very often like the conditioning from our past, from wherever. We shouldn't, you know, make anything wrong. We should really just speak when we are apt to speak or asked to speak.
Here's where we're going to go on this. And I've held my tongue. I'm not known for holding my tongue.
No, you're not.
I'm sorry, Jacqueline. I completely disagree with about 90% of what you just said. I find it completely out of date and unrealistic. And look, I don't want to make an enemy here or by any stretch of imagination, but I can only live by my experience, and my experience says that in my life, I have been surrounded by powerful women. I've been surrounded by women who say what they think, and I have never ever seen. I'm sitting next to one exactly right now.
Watch out!
So
you might blow up.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I think that you're coming from almost an attitude of victimhood, that you're somehow, you know, you're held back, and I completely disagree with that. In my entire life, I've been around a while. I have not. I've seen, don't get me wrong, I've certainly seen where women don't feel that they can step forward and be heard. But I've also seen men in that situation. And to me, being heard has got nothing to do with gender. and everything to do with your ability to stand up and your confidence in yourself and your confidence in what you're putting forward. So, you know, as I say, I'm not here to sit here and disagree with you, but I will.
I was waiting for this, and look, you know, maybe what we can do is argue a little bit about this, you know, in a very critiquey type of a way.
Look, in a productive way, right?
You know, I mean, this is radio, right? So, firstly, you know, Aaron has been a person who's been on that side of the scale where he has been, would I call it a victim?
I don't know.
I know the victim is bad.
Yeah.
But where he has, you know, really endured some grave injustice. And, you know, I feel that, you know, in many, many ways, it does stand for both men and women. Where Jacqueline is standing, you know, you are advocating for women because that's your niche.
Yep.
And I am absolutely 100% positive that Jacqueline would agree that men have to have that voice as well, especially when you've got something to say.
Oh, for
and
sure.
If I may say, you know, what I'm getting from what you're saying here, Jacqueline, is that, you know, when you do have something that you want to say, you've got to be able to express it rather than in a power, because, you know, I was talking about this with a criminologist last night.
Right.
And she'll be coming on the show next week. But, you know, it's about the wheel of power. And, you know, it really does happen in both genders. I don't think it is about
I just think
one gender or the other.
We're so hooked up on gender. Okay, we are so like it is.
We hit a trigger. We hit a trigger point.
Maybe I can join you in this conversation. Right?
I would love you to.
Yes, because actually I wrote 2 books, one for men and one for women. So why did I do that? That's exactly what I totally agree.
You tricked me. Look at this. They got me.
However, you see, I advocate for men as well. So but I think it's very important. I mean, I was invited today speaking up for women. I really do that. I think it's a very, very important subject. However, I also have written the other book, Hey Men, Wake Up. Have you been framed? Have you been put into, you know, certain frames you can't get out? So I think it's both of us, as you mentioned it. However, it's not for me about really the gender roles, you know, and I agree totally. We shouldn't just be on the gender questions, but we really need a different type of leadership. We need those voices speaking out who has something to say. And I think in that moment, that's what I encourage, really, every woman, but obviously also all the men listening to that, you know, take up your stance, go and speak, because when you are, when your voice is to be heard outside of this world, don't be silent. That's the message, you know. Just step up, have the courage, and do whatever you think you have to do and is best for yourself and for the people around you. So it's really about courage, about new leadership types in this AI-driven world. What do you know on social media? What's true? What's trustworthy? And that's where I'm placed in the parliament. I need to check together with my team. Do we put out an information which is trustworthy or not?
It's a great point. I think, well, let's talk about the AI side of things, because that's obviously, you know, something you've brought up. How, I mean, look, the toothpaste is out of the tube when it comes to AI, whether you love it or hate it. A lot of people use it in every day. We use it every day here. But I still have fear of it. I really genuinely do. Mainly because I've watched the Terminator movies, right?
Oh, is that what it is?
It's got to be that.
Is your girlfriend, your latest girlfriend, an AI? Is she generated?
Oh, look, I wish it would save me a lot of drama. But no, but with AI, like the problem is it's an incredible tool if it's used in a positive way. It's also an incredibly powerful tool if it's used in a nefarious way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts about that, especially being in a position there in the Parliament where you've got an ability? I mean, look, in Parliament, you make the rules for society. So, you're in hell of a position of power here. What are your thoughts about power and AI and how that moves forward?
Very importantly with AI, humans should be on top of that. We really need to know how to use these chatbots, what we should put into that. For example, in government, we are very careful about how we use these tools. Obviously, we need to know what data has been put in to understand exactly what comes out. So for everyone outside here, it's really important that you learn how to talk to a chatbot, that you learn how to check the information he has just given to you. What kind of answer would you expect? So what kind of answer you would expect depends very much on what you actually asked this chatbot, So you need to learn a new language. It's like a new language. You don't need to be a coder anymore. You don't need to know how to code for machines, machine coders. Today you can speak to that machine. However, you need to learn how to prompt, which is like the language, how to put a question, and so you are sure that you mostly get the right answer. But even if then, you have to check this answer.
I do have a question, actually.
Sure.
So, you hear a lot of these stories at the moment where people are actually resorting to AI and saying, well, that's the best partner I've ever had in my life, And, the funny thing, and I do want to ask you this question, AI seems to always make you feel really good about yourself. So it doesn't matter what you say. You could say anything. So, when I'm speaking to a system, so at the moment I'm using AI for everything. I'm using it for, and it's all above board. So, insurance. I'm using it to get my father out of a lot of his hot water at the moment. For real estate, I'm using it for the aged care system. Right. So let's just... Yeah. So let's just talk about at the moment. I mean, I should be a lawyer, really.
You missed your calling.
I missed my calling. But, let's just talk about, it doesn't matter what I seem to say to AI. If I say, okay, I want to be able to speak a language of, where I'm being very fair, but I'm being firm, but I want to be in accordance to the system and the politics and the legislations.
Sure.
Can you kindly write an email based on, and then I'll give him it's a he, yeah. I'll give him the entire spiel about what's going on, what's happening, the way that I see things. And, then I'll say, am I being a bit ridiculous? Should I be rationalizing or am I being too much? And without fail, he always goes on my side. He he does. He always says, look, no, I fully understand where you're coming from. Now, here's my question. Would AI, if I said something ridiculous to AI, especially when if I'm not fighting a system, but if I'm coming, and I'm speaking my voice, and I'm wanting to be heard, and I say something that just it's not quite aligned or it's not right, do you think AI would tell me? Would AI actually say, maybe you need to change the way you're thinking, maybe it should be based on this, this and this? Would that be the case, or do you think AI will always support the person that's feeding the information?
That's a very interesting question, because there are different type of chatbots. There are also, coaches. Like, for example, NAS, there are many coaches around now. You can actually talk to this AI, and he will, depending how you put that question, he will question your question. You can ask him actually to rethink if this question you have, or if this answer, you can challenge him. So if you ask a question, he will reply. But if you challenge him, if he really thinks that is a good answer or that's a good stance, then you really can challenge him, and he will, depending if it's a coach or if it's just like a ChatGPT, where you get information, draw information. It depends. It really can have a discussion, and in the end, you probably will rethink whatever he has told you in the beginning, and he can change completely his opinion, because he doesn't have any opinions. It's just a machine calculating, the most probable answer. So we always have to be aware. It's not about empathy. It's not about emotions or feelings. And obviously, he's very polite. He's been set up like that. That doesn't mean that he does agree.
He's been NLP trained. That's what I reckon. He's, totally rapport with every single person. And, it amazes me how, where do you think people's jobs stand? I know there's a lot of fear around AI, people fearing that they're going to lose their jobs. But I think one of the things that you made quite clear the other night on the podcast was, become informed. Don't be afraid of AI. Learn it, because really it can never take over man, can it? There's always going to be a heart and soul.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know.
Okay. This is the reason. It depends on what you feed it. Jacqueline, would you like to speak to Aaron about that one?
Please do.
Let's have a big argument today.
Why not?
I'm ready.
So I believe, obviously, there are many books around that subject, a world without the world from Suskind. I mean, there are many books, making fear, many books telling you, obviously, we're in the next era of technology, really changes. Transformation, definitely we are. I agree on that. However, these books, also so many authors, they have their big debates. Is it going to make humans really redundant completely, or should we just, train ourselves to be on top of that? My point of view is really that we get used, like, to email. We get used to driving cars. We have to learn these new tools. We should look at it as a new tool for everyday work, for everything. And I mean, as we discussed today, humans always will continue to discuss. There always will be like a work in a house to do, building houses. There are many jobs, they're still going to remain. So obviously there are some jobs as always been, jobs replaced. Maybe this time it's far more transformative for everyone, but the human is so adaptable. That's why I call people in with my books. Read these books. Go back who you really are as a human being. You have this human intelligence, to adapt to your environment. That's why we're still on Earth, because we survived all these transformations.
Agreed. I want to backtrack a little bit, which is a bit of a shame, because I want to jump onto what you've just said as well. So, bear with me on this one. But we've all said, and we've all agreed, that AI is only as good as the information that's fed into it.
Yeah.
Okay? That's a very big thing. Here is my little quandrum on this one. Okay, about roughly 5 years ago, and remembering that Google, okay, everybody goes to Google, it's the most popular thing. I mean, sure, DuckDuckGo is probably a little bit more honest, but the Google has become the go-to, right? Well, Google is AI. That is what it is, right? So I
think AI is far superior to Google.
No, but Google is using AI. That's what I'm saying, right? So that's how it comes up with it.
Right.
But where I'm going to go on this is about the quality of the information that's put in, and also algorithms, also targeting. Now, 5 years ago, a female friend and I were standing in my house. We got our phones, and we were both on the same Wi-Fi network. We're using my home Wi-Fi, so the VPN or whatever, all the information's the same, right? Anyway, we Googled the exact same thing at the exact same time and went boom, right? And we got two completely different answers,
Mm.
right?
Gosh.
One was completely curated to a woman and one was completely curated to a man.
Mm.
That scares me.
Because
right?
they know you.
Yeah.
They get to know
Right?
you.
They get to know you.
Can you imagine how much they get to know you through AI then? I could have a whole book and make a bestseller.
AI knows me better than most of the relationships I've had. I mean, let's be honest, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, they're following everything I do, where I go, what I talk about, who do I talk to, all of that. This is real. So, like, with the quality of information going in there, do you have any concerns? Both of you, do you have concerns about the fact that it's going to be, well, what an example of what I just talked about?
I think Jacqueline has more concerns than I do.
Okay.
You know, because the way I don't feel like I've got anything to hide with every single thing that I put in there, even if you were wanting to put in your ideal woman and what is going to be and who is going to be the type of woman is going to be your ideal woman, with everything they know about you, with all the history that you want to run away from the last worst person that you ever had, and with, you know, generating.
Let's get started. I'll start looking now. Hang on.
This show's on fire today. Literally. So you know when you are doing it, I mean, from a coaching space, you know, I'm just going to say this for the coaches, healers and leaders that follow, you know, the question still comes back to, is it a threat to people, to man's job? I mean, you know, we have social media managers, we have lead generation people. This is in the coaching space. Now, you can actually say to AI, this is exactly the message that I want to, you know, put across. Can you make me a great post based on this? Now, you feed it in. It then brings back this incredible post. Now, not only that, but you can then put in the details, such as, I want you to say it in the voice of Anthony Robbins. Right. You know, especially if they're NLP, or, you know, or make it in the voice of, you know, that person that you most admire. And I want you to heat it up. I want you to aim it towards people's pain point. And then I want you to add what is going to be, you know,
good at this.
I am. Yes. I have to say I'm a natural on this one.
I can tell.
And, you know, and what's going to make it fabulous. Now, get this. Get this. Now, I probably should be charging for this info. No, just joking. Jacqueline might put me in my spot here. Then say, okay, I want you to roll out now the next 2 weeks of posts based on that, with a call to action. And then boom, 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 away they go. Now I want you to create emails. All of a sudden, you've got an email manager, a social media manager, you've got a lead generation.
So true.
You've got, okay. Now my question back to you, Jacqueline. Is this a threat to man, their jobs?
If you ask me regarding jobs, I would say, I mean, as you do, obviously you don't need so many assistants, you know, to help you with your work. That is something makes us far more efficient. Obviously, for those kinds of jobs, yes, this is a threat. However, I mean, as I said before, we are adaptable. You know, the human race is so adaptable. We get to that. We get to know the new tools, you know, and then we go about. For me, the other side of the coin is really that be careful what you put in. Be careful how you interpret this information. Always get the sources. Can you trust this source? That's, you know, my job also at the department.
Yeah.
I mean, it can generate so quickly, as Terry just told, you know, so quickly information. But is it accurate? I mean, yes, you obviously influence people through that, which is a great mechanism, you know, and a great tool. However, that's what, with my books, I want to put out. Be careful how you read those things. The example you just gave before, you know, you put the same, you know, at the same moment that you request the same information on Google AI supported, you know, and you get 2 different information types. So, I mean, that's, you know, that's weird, you know. You should get the same sources basically. But that's
Mm.
in this world, the human intelligence
Yeah.
has to step up.
Yep. I was actually just thinking too about, what you're advocating for, and that is for people to go out there and learn AI. So you're not in a position of being threatened, but being able to become a asset to the person that you're working for, so that if you're well informed and your information that you're feeding in then comes out with the correct information, then that's going to put you in front of the game. It's not going to put you in that, they say the closer to the top you are, the closer to the door you are. But, into that kind of a situation.
Why? What have you heard?
No, it's not about you, Aaron. It's okay. It's all good. So now what about, we don't have questions today as such, unless we've got any that have come in
No, I'm just
in
checking
real
on that
time.
now. Yeah, absolutely.
But you do keynote speaks for this, and can you perhaps talk to people in the way that you would train a person who wants to know about AI, and do you have any resources that we can generate in the show notes?
I would train people in a way that, first of all, I would tell them that you as a human always need, to learn the tools you're working with. You need to know what they can do, how they function, what's their input, what's the output, what does this answer generates for AI. I would learn then, I would then teach that they actually go with a method, like I have this craft message where you actually go and give in the content, you tell him the role, you tell him what exactly you want him from. You need to tell him what form and also what kind of tone you want. So I really teach this method how to speak. It's very simple, but then when you get the result, I tell them also how to interpret this information and how to get information which is trustworthy. Just going back to the sources he's generating, always asking him, where have you got this information from? So this is...
Prove your homework. Bring the receipts, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you really need to know where this information is coming from. So you then can check, is it from a source I trust or not, and you even can look up, you must look up this source. You must check, is it a correct source? Because he will hallucinate. He will tell you also that, this is a new book coming out, you have to check, is this book available? Is this quote correct? Or did he just invent or recalculate something? Obviously, we have to check here.
Right, so don't use AI after hours. Just ask him first, have you had a couple of drinks, mate? Have you loosened up? Really, I want to make sure this information's all right. Hey, on this front, you guys keep saying, you guys, look at that. There's a play on words, but you two lovely ladies here have mentioned repeatedly about the fact that AI is a man, right? Okay. Now, I'm not playing the gender game. I'm just curious on this because I've only used it on the printed word. I don't actually use it the other way. And some of the new things have been done, use a male or a female voice you get to choose. When you're using AI, do you get to choose or not? Like I know with my car, for example, with my GPS thing, I can choose different voices, right? So I currently have a Southern Belle who gives me my directions, and I'm enjoying that very much. Nice little, that Southern twang from that
little twang.
Yeah, from that young lady. Very nice indeed. I had an English woman before, which she spoke beautifully. I like that. Much better than the American bloke who used to be on my GPS. I didn't like him. Moved him on. So, can you girls, can you do that with the AI?
I think you can.
And
I feel that it's really, I don't know about what you think, Jacqueline, but I feel that it's almost how you perceive it. And if you want it to be a female, why not call her Andrea and I'll call him Andre? I do. What do you think? You're the expert here. What do you think, Jacqueline?
I believe that doesn't matter at all. I mean, my assistant, I programmed, within AI. It's a he, it's a she. I mean, it's not a he. It's like
There you go.
I have an assistant, a female, So I'm talking actually, for me, this chatbot I'm using, or this AI I'm using, it's really a she, and I address it
Right.
like that. If I give
Okay.
her a
Okay.
command, So yes,
All
for
right.
me, you can choose whatever you like. This machine is for you. So it's
Oh,
really an
Jacqueline,
assistant.
if you could just pop her phone number in the comments, it'd be fantastic. I'll give her a call out. Appreciate that.
So I've got just a final question that perhaps we can really, I feel that this is going to be highly beneficial to all the viewers and listeners out there. But can you give us a couple of your best takes from each book? And that is for the woman and for the man.
Okay, yes. So I think it's very important that the one book that's really a call for women to step into their authentic authority. And they shouldn't really imitate others, or like the old type of leadership models, but they should really create new ones, new leadership, even if it's self-leadership. They should step up, don't conform, in the old roles. So just new leadership rooted in empathy, courage, trust, and respect.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's one of the things that is one of my biggest pet peeves, and that is the cookie cutter.
Yeah.
The duplication rule. And I feel that real leaders are thought leaders.
Agreed.
And they will, when everyone zigs, they'll zag.
Well, that's the way to do it. There's no doubt about it. And I think that I'd be interested, and this is probably, okay, it's a very open-ended question, but I'm curious. Can you think of any, you've mentioned particular, I don't know, aspects you'd like to be as part of that process. Do you have a model in mind of a way of moving forward, a different way of leadership, like a model that we could think about?
Great question.
Yeah, very good questions. I have this model in mind. I actually practice myself. It's this, I call it the participative leadership style.
Right.
It's well known in literature. It's very important to empower others, men, women, in your teams. Because as I described before, it's a different era we're in. It's a changing, quickly, rapidly changing information era, technologically also everyday new challenges. So we need people around us, leaders, or even everyone having colleagues around, thinking through things together, empowering each other, listening to each other, because it can pop up and information can pop up on any end. So that's how I am organized with my teams.
Okay.
We are all on the same level and we talk to each other. We discuss everything. Everyone speaks his voice, because it's very important that I, as a leader, listen to everyone, because there must be a message which may be important today. And on that, we need to have all the information. So yes, this participative leadership style where everyone contributes.
How do we stop that, right, which is a wonderful concept and a concept I actually really like, but how do we stop that becoming socialism?
Another 45 years.
Yeah. Very interesting question. I just was hanging through that yesterday in a book.
There you go.
It's not socialism. It is participative leadership style. Is the step leadership style where you actually still have a hierarchy. You need to have a certain hierarchy.
I agree.
It's not on the same level as like you share everything. It's, I mean, the same environment we're working at the moment. However, everyone has its own voice and can participate actively. I mean, if you look around, you have like 10 people at the table and 7 do not talk. Why shouldn't they talk? I mean, everyone should tell their opinion.
Absolutely agree.
I mean, that's enriching, and that's knowledge transfer as well. I mean, it must be like that.
Well, let's look at our conversation here. Now, earlier you said some things that I wasn't comfortable with, right? So I speak up about it. And you might like the answers, you might hate the answers. The reality is we're growing as people, right? Because we're challenging each other. We can't just, we need to do that. Everybody must be heard. And sometimes it has to be uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you man needs to be heard.
Damn
That's
straight.
the thing.
Yeah.
And I
hear you roar.
Yeah. Everyone needs to be heard. Everyone.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, so which parliament are you in?
I'm in the Swiss parliament in Switzerland. Yeah.
The reason I asked that, because I thought that, I just want to clarify, because I sometimes I watch some of the movements of the European Parliament specifically, and I see this unbelievable, in my eyes anyway, it's a push for socialism, right? And I don't understand, Europe of all people, well, groups of people, but Europe has experienced, socialism, communism, and to me, as I say, socialism is just, it's the Diet Coke of communism, okay? It's a gateway drug into, a very bad way of life. That part of the world, if any part of the world would have learnt the lessons of communism, right? It really concerns me that part and that parliament seem to be pushing towards that way. And I love your ideas about the fact that everybody at the table needs to be heard rather, but someone also needs to be held accountable. Somebody also needs to have a level of hierarchy. Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly, it's empowerment. It's also about, it's not only about listening, it's also giving out the responsibility. If I empower people, if they talk up, they need to be aware that they have a certain responsibility for what they're saying. And I think that's an important point. That's why it's not some kind of political system. It's really about, taking responsibility for what you're saying, for what you're living, for how you're actually acting for yourself and for others. I think that's very important. It comes with it.
Jacqueline, you're preaching personal responsibility.
Yeah.
What a crazy concept. That is something I'm very passionate about, and I really appreciate you saying that, because this is the thing. People need to actually grab hold of their own lives, understand that at the end of the day, whatever systems are in place, you are responsible for you, and you are responsible for the fact that you step up and you be heard. And kind of winding back to the beginning of the conversation, again, I don't want to ever play the gender game. I think that here, women and men, we're yin and yang. We need each other here, and voices need to be heard from both sensibilities, right?
Adam and Eve.
Yeah, I was going to make a terrible joke there.
I'm glad you didn't.
No, I backed away from that. Boom, boom. Anyway, there's a nugget there, someone. Anyway, but no, I really appreciate that. As I say, this is the thing. People often live in a fishbowl, and they just listen to the opinions of people who believe the same things as they do. And that's the problem we have with, both the current left and the current right. Now, I'm going to be a little biased here, and I would say that the left is too far in that fishbowl. They don't sort of seem to hear anything else, whereas the right and the centre right tend to be a little bit more centre. That's just my take on it. I just think that, socially we need to make improvements. And the improvements we need to make is to make sure that whether you're the CEO of a company, you're a politician, or you're somebody who's sweeping the streets, that everybody's voice has got value and everybody's voice has an opportunity to be heard.
Yeah, love it.
I agree. Yeah.
Love that. Yep. And did you have a little exit from the man's book while we're on the topic of, genders and both and even equilibrium or equality, being so important?
Yeah, I have for this other book, like, Hey Man, Wake Up. Have you been framed? That's a very small. Have you been framed?
Yes, I was.
I know it's provocative. I mean, books have to be like that.
They should be.
What I'm saying is really, the structure, of our society defines masculinity as a control, toughness, and, silence. It forces men into roles very often that stifle this individuality and prioritize power over authenticity. It is like invisible frames. It puts them somehow in a way that they don't feel they can, they're not liberated. They can't live their own lives because they're so stuck, whatever they have been told. So this book is really about going through 5 stages, coming back also for men to their inner self, and just try to find out who they really are.
I like that. I might
Beautiful.
even read that. Who knows?
Yeah.
Why don't you, use this opportunity. Hold both up there on this. Hold them up on the screen. I really encourage people to, again, think outside the box. Let's throw the box away and let's live our lives, right?
I love that.
Need to do.
And I like the invisible frame, because I think we are having those frames around ourselves, and this is all about reframing, isn't it? Or expanding the frame, at least, anyway. So, we will definitely pop all that in the show notes as well, as we did on the podcast. And, thank you. And thank you so much just for coming on the show and imparting all of your wisdom.
Thank you so much. It was so lovely and exciting to talk to you. Thanks so much.
Jacqueline, thank you for genuine discourse. Thank you for having a conversation and not running away from being challenged and quite frankly throwing the challenge back at me. I thank you very much. This is what proper conversations are about. And you're a wonderful person, and we're very appreciative of your time.
It was a great pleasure for me. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much for being part. Thank you for being part of the Journey Zone here on Edge Radio Australia.